These are my top 5 ways to save money by meal planning with your planner. Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and if, like me, you are trying to save money on your groceries, then let's talk a little bit about meal planning in today's video. I have a family of 5, just like everyone else. Things have gotten more expensive at the grocery store, and I have really turned to meal planning and making some intentional choices that have helped us save money. And I thought I would show you how I use my meal planning insert to sketch out our meals for the week, create intentional grocery lists, and really be purposeful about when we are eating out and how we are using our leftovers. So that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. I cannot wait to share more, and I cannot wait for you all to also share your meal planning tips and grocery saving tips in the comments below. Definitely jump in down there. Take some time to read comments from others because there are some amazing, smart people out there that have all kinds of great ways to save money. All right, let's go. All right, let's just start out with an overview of what is meal planning and how does it actually save money in the end. Meal planning can look a few different ways. You can meal plan for a week, you can meal plan for a month, and it is about specifically writing down what you are intending to cook for your meals that week. For me, that tends to focus on dinners instead of breakfast and lunches, but it kind of depends on how your household runs. Maybe you need to be very intentional about how each of those meals functions and what you are buying for those meals. What meal planning allows you to do is cut out food waste. That's where a lot of us end up throwing away money because we buy produce and goods that go bad before we use them because we didn't have that intentional or that intentionality behind them. And we overbuy with impulse buys. I have certainly been there. We kind of wander the grocery store to see what looks good or kind of have some ideas, but we don't have a specific list, and you end up spending more that way. So today we're going to break down a few tips on how to use a meal planning insert to really focus in on what your meal planning can be and save you some money. Let's check out the insert. All right, here is a look at the meal planning insert that I have available over in my shop. It is a 1-page insert, front and back. I try to lay it out very simply so that you can make adjustments and customize it to fit your needs. So you have Monday through Sunday over here on the left with lines underneath. If you want to plan out breakfast, lunch, dinner, that works great. If you want to go more specifically into dinner, which is what I generally do, then you have lines for that. Over here, this is a part that I love. This is a section that allows you to make some plans for some intentionality throughout the week. When do you plan on eating out? When do you plan on using leftovers? What prep needs to be done in advance so that you don't default to eating out because things aren't ready to go? And then notes, which we'll talk about how to use that as well. On the back of each page is a grocery list that is divided into the different departments in the store that allows you to be really efficient in your grocery shopping trip, which I absolutely love. All right, so that's a quick overview. Let's dive into how to use this planner to save money. Tip number 1, plan your meals with leftovers in mind. I love this for a couple of reasons. First of all, it saves me money. Second of all, it saves me time. With a very busy family going every which way, I do not have time to cook each and every night. So cooking a few times a week and planning for leftovers has saved us time and money. So for instance, this is what this would look like. If I know I'm going to do a couple of bigger batch things, specifically protein wise, then I know I can use them over and over again. So if I'm going to do like a roasted chicken dish on Monday, maybe a roasted chicken, we're going to say with veggies, I'm going to get more specific on the veggies as we continue to plan. We're not going to eat the whole roasted chicken. If I grab a rotisserie chicken, we're not going to eat the whole thing. So that means we can have leftovers. So some of the big things I'm planning for are the chicken cooking that in a big batch, buying it in a bigger bulk so that it is cheaper by the pound. And then on Tuesday, we could do chicken tacos. And just depending on what is left, that might even mean that Saturday is chicken noodle soup. So it allows me to cook the chicken one time in a bigger batch for less per pound and do 3 different meals out of that. So planning in advance is super great. The leftover section kind of helps you in a couple of different ways. If you're planning or prepping, you might say, well, I'm definitely going to have chicken, or it might be batch chicken, batch cook chicken. I might be doing that on Sunday so that I have enough chicken throughout the week. So it allows you to track those in a couple different ways. That way, you don't have to cook something brand new each and every single night. Think about the meals that can be repurposed, especially with more expensive things like produce and some of those proteins. When you can buy them in bulk, it's going to save you a little money and you can reuse the things over and over again. This also goes to freezer planning, which if you're going to do a big batch of something to save money, you can then freeze it and you can mark out the days you plan to eat that in your meal planner. Tip number 2 is to limit your eating out, and we're going to do that by planning ahead. So I've never been good at following like the no spend rules or the diets that absolutely never allow you to have ice cream. That is very unsuccessful for me. And what it leads to is binging on the other end. Either I'm going to eat the whole tub of ice cream because I've refrained from eating it for 3 weeks, or I'm going to buy all the things once my no spend month is over, but I end up spending way more than if I had just bought little bits throughout the month. I feel the same way with eating out, ordering out. So I love a good restaurant. I think many of us do, and I love a good fast food meal actually. So I want to plan for when those are going to be so that I know it's coming. I have something to look forward to, and I won't start binging in advance by ordering out on different nights. So I know that Friday we are going to do Paisano's Pizza. That is our pizza night. I know that that is coming, and it's something I can look forward to. So when I'm cooking throughout the week, I know I'm going to get a break on that day. I also might know in advance that we have a busy Saturday, multiple meats. So I might have right here that this is going to be a Chick-fil-A lunch because we're going to be out and about. I can plan ahead knowing that's happening. Now, this is what works for me because I want to know when I'm going to get to eat out. So I know we're going to have pizza night and Chick-fil-A. I might even set a little budget over here. This might be $75. I could say, hey, that's coming out of my grocery budget that month. It could be eating out budget, but I could kind of set my limit and know what I have so I can anticipate that as I plan for the rest of the week. That might mean, hey, if that's going to cost $75 because we're actually eating out twice, then that might mean that Wednesday is pancake night because we all know that pancake mix is very inexpensive. And so that is going to be an inexpensive meal. I can plan that out looking at budget reasons. I'm budgeting and it's in my meal planner. So that helps so much. It also is going to let you know, like, say you don't want to do Chick-fil-A lunch. Say you really are trying to not eat out, but you know it's going to be a busy day. So you need to plan ahead for snacks and lunch so that you're not grabbing on the go. If you make the plan in advance, you're much more likely to stick to it. And that will also tie into your batch prep. So say Sunday, you have another busy day and you need sandwiches and soup on the go. So prep sandwiches Saturday night. All right, and that also is telling me, hey, I'm gonna have soup. So good news. I'm making a bunch of chicken noodle soup on Saturday. I'll be able to take it on the go on Sunday. So all of that planning is going to contribute to less spontaneous eating out times. And I think it's when you're planning for your eating out that it makes a lot more sense financially as opposed to just randomly going when you feel like it, because typically I almost always feel like it. Tip number 3 is to make a smart grocery list. So we're going to flip to the back. The grocery list is so important. It's important for several different reasons. It's going to save you time here on the back. You're going to shop by department. So you're not going to parts of the store that you don't need to go to. When I would do grocery shopping in person and I would just go up and down the aisles. It would take a really long time with 3 kids in tow, go up and down the aisles, and I would just grab the things that I knew we needed. But inevitably, as I was going up and down the aisles, I always found more things. I always wanted to try something new. So extra things ended up in our cart. If you fill out your list and stick to your list, it's going to save you from unnecessary spending in a couple different ways. First of all, when I am filling out my list, I take it up to the kitchen and I stand in the middle of my kitchen to fill out the list. So I know that I'm going to need chicken for this week because we said we were going to do roasted chicken and veggies. So I'm going to do chicken breasts over here. But I already know, because I'm in my kitchen, theoretically, looking in my freezer, that I already have a couple of chicken breasts. So I don't need as many. So I'm going to actually it's a lot of chicken, but I'm actually going to do chicken breast times 4 because really this would be 6 and that would last us the whole week. I'm also going to want some veggies. So I'm looking ahead and thinking, I have veggies here. I'm going to want veggies with my chicken noodle soup. That's going to be the carrots and celery both times. So I could do some carrots also on Monday and have that overlap. And probably one more vegetable of some sort, and maybe like a starch, potatoes, something like that. Okay, so I'm making a plan. I'm looking to see what we have. And honestly, I can look and go, you know what? We already have celery left over from last week. So I don't need to buy that. I'm double checking my list. Instead of just making it and going with it, I'm looking in my kitchen to see what we have. That is super, super important. You want to check your fridge and your pantry. Then walking into the store with your list and being able to check things off is going to keep you from impulse buying. If it's not on the list, don't buy it on that trip. If you really need it and it's really worth it, then maybe you need to make a separate trip, but really try to stick with what's on your list unless you absolutely know it's something that you forgot. Having a grocery list, there's plenty of studies, but it really does reduce your overall grocery budget. Here is confession time for me, and it also involves tip number 4. You want to shop with a purpose. And confession time is that I hate grocery shopping. I hate going to the grocery store. I think it's like leftover trauma from taking 3 tiny ones to the grocery store, where I used to push the double stroller with one hand and pull the cart behind me with the other hand with a toddler. Also, it was traumatizing and I dislike grocery shopping so much. So the less time that I can spend in the grocery store, the better. I actually prefer to order my groceries if possible, but that's also an added expense. So in order to save money, we often will go to the grocery store. And I just want to limit that time. I want to make it an efficient trip. And I certainly don't want to go more than once a week. If I have meal planned effectively, then I just have to do the one trip a week. I can save myself time, and multiple trips generally means more money because, like we said, impulse buying is super hard to avoid. So odds are, if you're going multiple times, that's multiple chances for extra things to jump into that cart. You won't end up buying the random stuff. You'll end up focusing on what's on your list, getting in and out of the store, saving yourself time and money. If you're planning out a full week of meals in advance, you are going to be able to limit what you buy because you'll know exactly what to buy. And it also allows you, having that plan can allow you to do your grocery shopping on the less busy days. Here's what I'm talking about. Grocery shopping right after work can be crazy. If you're getting off of work at 4 or 5 and everyone else is getting off and doing their shopping at that point, it's a lot. If you are prepared with your meal plan, maybe even a meal plan that you're repeating for multiple weeks, just to simplify it, like you have your basic 2 to 3 meal plans that you've not dated, but you've kind of filled out in advance. You just grab one and you can go early on a Saturday morning. You can go before work because it's going to be efficient with your time. You're not going to be left wandering around the grocery store. It saves you time and then therefore saves you money It's fabulous. So shopping at those like off-peak times will just kind of bring your blood pressure down for sure. It's just fabulous. I like to batch my meals. So I'm actually grocery shopping maybe even less than once a week because I'm making a huge pot of chili that I'm planning on using multiple times that month. Or I'm cooking up a bunch of this chicken that I'm going to freeze and use in different meals. It's just overall going to save you so much. So it's a big thing. Simplifying that shopping and shopping with a purpose is fabulous. And if you dislike grocery shopping as much as I do, then you're going to be really happy that you're able to streamline the whole process. All right, and tip number 5 is to use the notes section for budgeting and substitutions. So this notes section could be for a lot of different things, but in order to save money with your meal planning, maybe you are making a note of what your budget is that week, depending on what your family or household budget is for the month. Maybe you're thinking, hey, my grocery budget for this week is $250. So I might say, hey, that $75 that I'm thinking for eating out is going to have to come out of that. So that is leaving me at $175 for the month. As I'm looking and planning before I go to the grocery store, I may look at the sales in advance. Take the circular, look it up online, see what is on sale that week. Maybe I think, you know what, this is going to be too expensive. If you planned beef or whatever, you jot down some different notes. If chicken is too expensive this week, maybe there's a different cut of chicken that you want to use that is a little bit less. Maybe you are substituting pork for chicken because the pork is on sale and that's going to save you money. Maybe it turns out mac and cheese is on sale. So you're actually trying to buy multiples of this to save for different weeks. This is a place that can help you map out some of those savings without going item by item and thinking of itemizing everything. You can just look at some overall things that you might want to do to make some cuts that particular week. And this also plans, I like to do when I'm planning my meals, you saw like pancake night, that's going to be a pretty affordable, inexpensive night. I might do something with shrimp on Thursday because it'll balance things out. Shrimp a little bit more expensive. I switch things out with the budget in mind. I don't necessarily take each and every item, add it up, but I do try to keep it in mind for the entire week. Little tweaks end up adding up over time and saving you money. All right, so let's recap our 5 tips. Number 1, plan your meals with leftovers in mind. Number 2, limit the eating out and make a plan for the eating out. Number 3, create a SMART grocery list where you are comparing what you have in your pantry, you're making sure you're batch prepping, all of that. Number 4, shop with a purpose. Limit the time you're in the grocery store. The longer you're in there, the more you're going to spend. And tip number 5, use the notes section for budgeting, substitutions, things like that. I do hope that this video gave you some tips and tricks to save money on your next grocery trip. I would love to hear from you down in the comments. What are some of your tips to saving money with meal planning or grocery shopping? Let us know down in the comments below. If you are ready to get organized with your meal planning, to add it into your regular planning routine, I will have this meal planning insert that is available over my shop. It's available in 3 different sizes, tall, grande, and venti, and you can find the link down below. All right, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you have an absolutely fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.